Hey, welcome everybody to another episode of Mac Yak, number 88. Good number, by the way, too. I have actually on my hat right here. Car number, that is.
I
Double
see
ocho.
nationwide.
Huh?
All I
No,
see is
it's
nationwide.
on the side over here. It says
Oh, there we
88
go.
somewheres. Yeah. So right there. Yeah.
Did you plan this?
No, I
Yes.
did not plan it. But yeah, it's
Sound check.
one of my favorite
Sound check.
drivers. So, is it? Are we working?
Audio
Hopefully.
check 1 2.
I
Can everyone
see.
hear?
I see stuff moving. So
Yeah.
I think it's working.
Excellent.
He was in a
Nobody's
fancy
complaining
room.
yet.
Yeah, I actually cleaned my office. That's the fancy room.
I always thought he had carpets, but nope.
Yeah, I know.
That was just a layer of cardboard over everything.
Dust.
Yeah. You notice he changed the angle of the camera now too. So it used to be pointing at his bulletin board back
Yeah,
there.
because
Now,
that.
Yeah, that's what.
happened back then. It was deliberate not to do that. So.
yeah, he was ashamed to show all that stuff there.
Damn right.
All right, we got audio good, video good. I think we're good.
I think we are too.
Woo.
We are actually streaming I'm using my X264 instead of the hardware encoder. For some reason, it's not working on OBS. So I got to do some more figuring out on that. But I was not going to chance it, so I just dropped it down to X264, and it seems to be working. Yeah.
Seems
Well,
to be all right.
I'm not even stressing my CPU out. I mean, I'm looking at the cores right now. I'm barely even moving them. I mean, probably 20% maybe at the most.
As long as it works.
That's right.
Yep.
Anyways, guys, so welcome to another show. And how you guys been doing this past week?
Good.
Good.
Yeah.
I've been so lazy.
I
I haven't done anything.
think we all have. I will be here. I should be here to the show next week because we're going to Bristol, Tennessee, for the race next week. But we're leaving Friday, so I should be able to do the show Thursday night, though. So I will be here for that.
What do you mean
Um,
should?
I should.
This takes priority, man. There's no
Yeah.
anniversaries. There's no nothing.
Yeah. Then Jay, you could do it.
Yeah, sure.
I-
I'm not the one with the fancy upload speed.
That's right. Steve has those fancy upload
Yeah.
Don't let me do it again. I'll mess it all up.
speeds now. Yes, finally, since I got the audio and stuff right. So, anyways, guys, so we got a pretty decent show tonight. I think we're going to get really good later on in the show, especially, I think, in the What Were They Smoking segment tonight. So, yeah. You guys will have fun with that one. We also got the Eep game tonight. We got some submissions tonight, so we'll play the Eep game. I don't think we played it last week, did we?
No,
I'm not sure.
No,
We
it's
went over last week, didn't we?
Yeah, we went
Yeah, we
over, but
Heaps of topics.
oh yeah, we had lots. See, we go from 1 week of having tons of topics to a week where we barely have anything to make it fill up.
Yeah. Well, we always make do.
Yeah, that's
Been a
right.
slow week.
All right, so another thing is we got some new subscribers. We're up to 816 subs now. So that's 10 more from last week. So that
Thank
means
you to all 10 of you.
yeah, that means 184 to go for the MacBook giveaway. Also, go to take a look at Dave's. Why is this still up here? Dave's Vintage Apple Tech channel. He has some neat content. Has over.
Because he's doing a giveaway too.
He has a 500 sub giveaway going. I think he's giving away a microphone, isn't he?
Yeah,
and
well,
the laptop. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, and a laptop.
laptop.
And Mike's
okay.
still giving away his iBook. So we got a lot of giveaways.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. I forgot about Mike.
we
Yeah.
should make that a separate topic. Just 10 minutes every giveaway we know of.
Anyways, guys, if you do want to get into our giveaway, go to episode number 69, watch it, and it explains everything. So there you go. What the heck just popped up over here? Oh, my email just for some reason popped over everything on my screen.
Yeah, and like the giveaway, we have some voting going on, don't we, Jay?
Yes,
Yes, we do.
That's
I
what
already
I-
put a link in there.
that's what I was just getting ready to say is check
Yeah.
out the Mac of the Month poll on AppleSerialNumberInfo.com. And unlike
Right.
Facebook that doesn't like that link, YouTube likes it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
shocker.
what's up with that?
Yeah, then make sure you click Power Mac G4 and cast your vote.
Yes, Power Mac G4. Make sure you vote G4.
Make sure you vote 512K.
Don't listen to Bruce.
Uh,
Don't listen to Action Retro.
yeah.
Just vote G.
What if it was a 512K upgraded to a G4?
No.
Ah.
Oh, there you go. All right. So, news and announcements tonight. The only thing I think we've got for news and announcements is basically the Apple event is coming up soon. I didn't know. I didn't get what date it was. I didn't even check and see what date. Anybody get the date
13th, I think.
of this month
We are so prepared.
or next month
15th or the
hold on.
15th.
Yeah,
of,
15th. Then.
of October?
No, September.
September?
This month. Yeah.
That's like next week.
It's
we don't
15th,
even know.
Yeah. It says right on their website, 15th, 10 a.m. PDT.
All right. So, are we going to have to do a show right after it?
No.
Well, it's
No.
going to be an iPhone event, right?
Yeah, it's going to
Probably.
be, oh, here's a new iPhone, here's a new iPad, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. I don't care enough to do a show about that.
No.
This ain't
You can wait 2
WWDC.
days.
We're not
Yeah.
going to
All right.
make a
So
show 2 days.
we'll just do our
We're gonna
regular
just-
Thursday show then, and we'll just recap a little bit on the Thursday
Yeah.
show of what they said, because I'm pretty sure the new iPhone is going to be. They haven't changed the design since the iPhone 6, pretty much. So I
Who
mean,
cares? If it works, it works. Don't
Yeah.
mess with the design.
I mean, the iPhone 6 is. I mean, that's the design they've been using ever since that one. So
I think it's going to have, of course, a few additional camera lenses.
27.
And they're
It'll
going
have
to
6
have
this
an
time.
Ultra XDR display, so the back is going to be cheese grater to get all the heat out. And that's about it.
That's how they get your fingerprint now. They slice off a thin layer of your skin with the cheese.
Yeah.
every
You can only
time.
use your phone twice a day.
I
Or-
want to call you. I just
or-
can't.
Does it
Yeah.
take a blood sample?
I wanted them to bring out the iPhone, was it 6, I guess, form factor, iPhone 7, that sort of thing, with the fastest CPU in it. That's all I want.
That's kind of what they do with the SE.
That's kind of what they've already done, Bruce. I mean,
Well, that's why I want them to keep doing
But he
it.
wants it
So,
fast. There you go. Just keep doing it.
I want bigger.
Technically, I like the iPhone 5 form factor.
Well,
if
they
it
ain't
was,
going back to
if
that,
it was,
Lee.
if it was, no. I'm talking about the form factor, but bigger, as far as the size of the 10s Max, but the iPhone 5, styling.
Yep.
So what
I
did
like
you
it.
guys think of the icon, the Apple logo in the email? Did you get the email?
No, I did not.
Remember that After Dark screensaver can of worms?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's exactly what I was thinking.
it does look like that, doesn't it?
Wait,
Yeah.
what
Well,
email?
why did they make it look like that? That's what I don't know. I mean, I guess it's supposed to be like a timeline or something.
I
Is this
don't know.
a special anniversary or?
But I bet you
think
every
they're
Apple
They're
person's
going to put
speculating.
that fancy VR LiDAR camera dealy in something, and this is, I don't know.
LiDAR in your iPhone. How about that?
Well, that's
I
pretty
can find
much
buried
I
treasure.
bet what's going to happen. So, but all right. So since we're
September
talking about
15th,
this,
10 a.m.
we'll
Yep.
just go ahead and get into topic one then, I guess. Speculation. So we know that it's probably going to be an iPhone event. Anything else we think might come out of this?
I'm guessing iPad too, but who knows? It's something iOS related, is my bet.
Well, I don't know about that. The iPad 7 Gen just came out around. I mean, so, and the new iPad Pro just came out too, didn't it?
Yeah, but see, their iPads are so staggered now because they have so many models. So I wouldn't be surprised if they came out with like a lower end one or like a middle range one or a mini or whatever. There's so many of them that it's just hard to tell. And the rumor's been circulating. Oh, it's an iPad. Oh, it's this. Oh, it's that.
Well, I mean, an iPad's not. Again, it's the same thing as the iPhone. It's like it's a new iPad.
Yeah, I mean, I'm only interested because it's probably the one product I'm looking to update sometime in the near future. But
Well, I have the iPad 7th Gen, so I mean, I'm not looking to upgrade.
fancy you! Mine's from 2013.
I'm not looking to upgrade
That's
anytime
fine.
soon.
My wife stole mine. I don't even know where it is.
Just
So you don't have one. You need another one. That's what you're saying.
Yep, pretty much.
there you go.
I'm curious to see what they're going to do with the ARM chips, though. Because now that they're going full steam ahead on the ARM chips, I expect the phones and iPads to get a nice boost. So, depending on how far they get compared to the last revision of ARM chips, we can kind of guesstimate maybe where they're going to be at when the Mac comes out with the ARM chip.
I think they're so focused on the Mac that these are just going to be a small speed bump. I mean, I don't know.
Probably 5G, better battery life. That's it.
Well,
So what do you think the little slogan "Time flies" means?
Watch.
it could be
No,
something new with the
could be,
watch.
yeah.
I mean,
Could be a watch with a wiggly band.
Yeah.
It's a press event just for a band that's wiggly.
Oh, maybe a watch that turns into a drone. Like you lose your watch, go.
or it could be a new watch coming out with maybe it not being square anymore.
Mm.
That's maybe they're
Very
changing the
possible.
because you got to remember the Apple Watch has had the same form factor from day one. They haven't changed it at all. So
Mhm.
you're looking
Well,
at
they've made adjustments.
no they made adjustments to the display, but the actual case itself is pretty much identical from day one. I mean, it's
What would you change of it?
I would actually hopefully, and this is my opinion, make a round one. I like round watch
Ooh.
faces.
I can't see it happening.
I can't see them doing that.
You
No.
never know.
I think it would just cause too much, of an issue with the apps that people have made for them and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't get that whole argument though. We've mentioned this before with the iMac and the MacBook Pro. When people start saying, "Oh, they haven't updated the look in forever," like why do people care so much about the look?
Thank you.
If it
Well,
works, it works.
but
Why do you want it to look
here's
different?
the
So you can show
difference.
off to your buddies, or
But here's the
It's
difference.
going to be in a case anyway if you have any brains.
But here's the difference. The watch is something you wear, so it's kind of like a piece that you want to have something. It's stylish,
That's
But-
what the bands are for, though.
But
Exactly.
but then you have an iMac, which as long as it works, like Jay said, who cares what it looks like, The same with the Mac Pro. I could have cared less that they changed the case. They could have used the same cheese grater case for all I cared. I mean,
oh, that would have been nice.
And although I definitely do get the argument for a round one, just from a fashion perspective, I just can't see it happening. I really can't. And I much prefer as much screen real estate as possible. There goes the tail.
Yeah.
well, maybe they'll make it bigger, like maybe the Apple Watch, S.
Yeah, it's big. Make a wall-mounted clock. That's what they're doing.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing.
There you go.
And if
Hold
you
on,
pay
I have
extra,
to
you get the
this
plus
up.
version.
Apple Watch Plus.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Speaking
So
of
that
the
time
watch,
flies thing has really got me.
has anyone played around with the Clockology that Bruce mentioned last week?
Yes, I have. I've made a few
Yep.
watch faces, except the temperature still is having issues there, Bruce. I actually don't think they
it's
fixed
very
it.
slow to update. I don't know what the situation is there. So just to recap, so Clockology did a 1.2
What'd you call
update
it?
quite recently, and they once they'd done that update, it didn't link up with the weather API properly anymore, and so it wasn't updating the weather information on any custom faces that you had, and they just released a new update yesterday or whatever, which I've updated today. And although it is showing the temperature, it's very slow to update. I mean, when I first put the watch on, okay, it's just updated now. So
Oh, mine's saying
I
76
did not.
degrees, but it's only gone from 76 to 77 to 78. That's the only three temps it showed, and I know it's either hotter or colder than that.
yeah, I mean, oh, it's just changed. Oh, whoa, hey, what? It's just at 25 degrees. It is not 25 degrees at the moment. This is oh no, it's changed back again. Yeah, it's not right yet.
Yeah,
Sounds reliable.
Yes.
yeah.
So interestingly enough, I mean, I don't recall having any issues with the weather in the previous version. So this is definitely something that's happened as part of the updates. But look, I mean, it's a great deal of fun. I mean, I sort of I've shown the Mac Yak guys. I made a little watch face that looks like System 7. And
Bring it closer.
sorry, I've got to fix the focus.
And now the watch is off.
Yeah, I know. We're gonna rectify this. Don't worry.
Why don't you make him full screen, GT, temporarily?
It's kind of hard to do that on the fly.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I can handle the responsibility of that.
It's still dark.
Okay, so now here we go. We're gonna get a little bit of. There we go. Okay.
Macro, huh?
Let me turn the
We'll
watch
get
on.
there.
Come on. There we go.
Ooh. Yeah, I actually have that one. I like that face, except on the
Very
bigger
nice.
the bigger screen, it cuts off a little bit because of the rounded corners. So
Yeah, that's right. I had
And
noticed
what
that as
model do you
well.
have, Bruce?
I've got the Series 3, and obviously the Series 4, the 5 that
or
GT has got.
four or five, yeah.
You got the 4? Yeah.
No, R
Has
4
got,
or 5 is the same. So
yeah, it's got the larger screen, but it has much bigger curves in the corners, and so it sort of chops that off. And even when you're previewing it in the app, it doesn't chop off as badly as it does on the actual watch.
I'll
So
have to
where
try
it
it out just for
fits,
that watch face.
yeah, I mean, yeah, that's right. So definitely, if you want that watch face, you buy a Series 3. Okay, just letting you know.
yeah. Okay, here's what it looks like on mine. So I just wanted to show you real quick if you could see that.
Oops.
Oh, you haven't done anything today, you
Yeah.
lazy bum.
And I hate this because if you got to hold
I
it.
love that whenever you go to like look at the time, it's like you got this ring. I'm like, I don't care. What time is it?
Yeah, there we go. So you can see the difference in the. It's the same actually app that Bruce has, but
It's a little blurry, yeah.
well, I can't change the focus like Bruce can.
Oh,
Yeah.
Way.
So, but that's just. I like it though.
It's
It
much
does.
quicker to load. I will say that it's much quicker to load on the previous version. You know, when you would first, bring your watch up like that, it would take a little bit longer to load up the Clockology face. Now it's much quicker. So they're making improvements. It is getting there.
Yes, I agree with you, and I just wish that some of some of the other stuff like that would link to it, like you could use like your calendar stuff. I wish they would put all that stuff in there because a lot of that stuff I'd like to pull over into some watch faces. But
I use countdown timer all the time. I'd love to be able to bring the countdown timer up there to show what it's showing the way it does on the normal Apple face. But these things all may come in time. We'll just have to wait and see.
especially with the new Watch OS coming out, and it should possibly be out soon because if this event's coming out, that means they're probably getting ready to release Big Sur, the new Watch OS, and the new iOS versions.
yeah, but between now and December, they're going to just be flooding the market with new stuff to make everybody have Christmas gifts there. I mean, we got new Apple TVs that have been rumored to be just like ready and waiting to be released.
Yeah.
Same goes for a lot of other
Macintosh
stuff.
Librarian says she needs that watch face.
Okay, well,
We all do.
I will be actually making it available for download very soon. So I'm just going to tidy a few things up and then I'll make a link. I am planning to do a little instructional guide on the Mac Yak website because it's not just as simple as loading the app. There are a series of steps you have to follow in preparation. It's not difficult. You just have to follow these steps, and it's not necessarily intuitive that's what you need to do. So I'll be doing a little instructional guide. I'll put that up on the Mac Yak website, and then I'll also make a couple of the custom faces that I've made available for download on there as well.
Cool.
All right. So, any other things that we could speculate is going to come out of this event?
I want to make a bet.
What?
Okay.
I want to make a bet. I want to bet amount to be determined
Not to
that
be determined.
Tim Cook cannot get through his time on stage without stuttering or messing something up.
No,
that's a given.
I'm not
But
taking that bet.
I don't
Come
know. A lot
on.
of people seem hopeful that he finally got it, but
No, not taking that bet. Because that's a sucker bet.
so this is going to be the first keynote without
Phil?
curly
Phil
haircut.
Schiller?
Yeah, Phil.
Yeah.
Curly haircut.
Yeah, I don't know his name. I don't care enough. But this is going to be the first one, right?
Well, he's not the iOS.
He's not out. He's still doing stuff.
Yeah, but
He's
he's-
stepped down pretty much, but
he's
he's
an evangelist now, so
what?
I don't know if they'll actually have him do anything. Probably not.
Probably not.
Count his shares and
Well, we
Like
just
golf.
all got to remember that quote. Can't innovate my ass. Remember that?
oh yeah.
When they introduced the trash can.
Yeah.
That was a
Thanks for
sad
proving our
day.
point, Steve.
Yeah.
Or Phil. Sorry.
All right, so let's go ahead and move on to our next topic of the evening. And I like this one because I think Jay put this one in because Jay had showed us a guy that went 4 times to buy a adapter,
MagSafe.
a MagSafe,
Yeah.
and thinking the 4th
Kept
time's
buying
the charm.
cheap ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the first time this is a post I saw on Facebook. The guy needs a MagSafe charger, so he buys one on eBay, gets screwed on the shipping. Then he buys another one. They just take the money and run. Then he buys a third one. Turns out to be a knockoff. So now he bought a fourth one and says fingers crossed. Chargers for your Mac or your phone or your iPad is something you just want to get from
Apple.
a legitimate source.
Yeah,
Apple,
trusted
I think
source.
Best
Yeah.
Buy sells them.
Best Buy does sell them, as a matter of fact. They sell both the MagSafe 1 and the MagSafe 2.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I've had a lot of boards on my workbench that got royally screwed up because a fake charger or knockoff was used. Don't risk
If
it.
you're holding a genuine Apple MagSafe charger and you're holding a knockoff, the knockoff is usually half the weight.
Yeah,
The Apple
Yeah.
one isn't full of pebbles. You know, they're
Right.
made better.
Yeah.
I've actually got a source here where I can get them for. Well, they're expensive, but they're cheaper than buying them from Apple. And another thing worth mentioning, although this isn't necessarily a DIY thing, a lot of the time when they fail on the little plug on the end rather than in the power supply. And you can buy replacement plugs. It's not
Mhm.
it's not a super easy job to replace that plug. You've got to crack them open, and they often don't end up going back together as well as they once did, and all that sort of stuff. And it's probably something you might want to get done by like a tech person rather than maybe a DIY repair. But you can often bring those chargers back, those genuine Apple chargers, back to life just by replacing.
Well, I
that
think
cable.
Grudy
Yeah.
did that one time, didn't he?
There's a lot of duct tape on Grudy's. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, a lot.
Blood.
Blood, yeah.
I
Blood
did,
too, don't
I
forget
did,
that.
because Jay sent me a few that were clipped, I think, right at the cable. So I bought some cables, and I just never got around to doing it. But it does not look like a fun project because Apple doesn't want you to open those. So.
Yeah, I mean, it
Yeah.
basically involves applying some heat around the seam, and then there's a section where you can actually, if you get those like reverse pliers that when you squeeze down they open rather than close, you can put them in there and you can squeeze and you can crack it apart, and then of course once you finish the work, you've got to glue it back together again. And I've done it to a few. The ones they work afterwards. They don't necessarily look as pretty as they once did, with sort of the joins not being perfect and maybe a little bit of residual glue around the outside, but they work.
Who cares? You're not looking at the charger.
They're better. Put it this way: I would trust in those a lot more than I would trust in a knockoff charger.
Yeah.
That
Oh,
looks
yeah.
beautiful. Yeah. So.
Well,
Yeah,
I thought I sent you those, Steve.
Yep, they're sitting on my shelf downstairs.
but here's the thing too: is that Apple makes, yes, a lot better charger part, but the cable part is the crappy part. I don't know why they insist on using something that's, especially their lightning cables are crap. In fact, when people come to my store all the time, I tell them, don't buy that. Buy this other one over here that is braided, and it'll
Well,
last you
they don't
a
care.
lot
They want
longer.
you to buy another cable. That's
Exactly.
all they care about.
Yeah.
They're no
Yeah.
fool.
In fact, my
Yes, I
wife,
mean, things
my
like
wife
the-
just said, made for her because it has to be Ginny proof.
Yeah, I mean, this one here I think is like a console or something like that, and it's braided, and
Yeah.
they just last forever.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
it's funny because my father had a braided one in his car, and it wouldn't charge anymore. And so with the new microscope, one of the first things I was playing around with, I just looked at it, and there was just all this gunk and dirt and stuff, and I just took a scalpel and scraped it off, and it works fine. So I don't know how long that'll last, but a lot of those adapters and cable parts, I mean, maybe it's not as a fine metal or whatever that Apple's using, and it just collects a lot of dirt.
Well, it's not that. It's just Apple's stress relievers on it are just the worst design ever, and they've been using those since they came out with the original iPod.
Well, I meant the actual pins on the connector,
Oh,
not
yeah.
necessarily
Yeah,
the wire parts. But no, I agree with you.
I
on
think
that.
my Thunderbolt cable has an allergy.
You know what's funny is that they still sell those too, the 30-pin connectors like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they still sell
Well,
them.
it's interesting if you
Oh,
take
I've
like
made
an
a mess.
old PowerBook G4 charger and you notice the thinness of the cable, and then you look at an iBook one, then you look at a MagSafe one. They made the wires thicker because they were fraying at an increasing rate, but I don't think that thickness is where the problem is. It's like GT. What you're saying is the the connector at the edge of the adapter, whether it's going into the adapter or going to the MagSafe connector. That's where most of the stress is. I mean, sometimes I put some extra tape around it or heat shrink or something, but yeah.
Yeah, I shrink tube. I got a box full of springs that I bought when I started making the heat shields, the Branca's Creation style. So all the springs I have left over, I clip off the ends and I wrap them around the cable, and then I shrink tube them on there.
Yeah.
And so
That's a good
far
idea.
that's worked. Now they start falling apart in the middle.
Mhm. Well, I mean, like, okay, Tobias just asked a stupid question. He says, "Stupid question. Can you shorten the cable on a Mac? I'm assuming she's MagSafe.
MagSafe. Yeah.
Yes, you can. I would not
I mean,
get it
I,
like this short, but
I mean, my answer to that would be I don't believe there's a way you could do it and keep it as neat and tidy as it was originally. And the reason is that the bits on either end are glued on. So it's not like you can shorten it and move those things up.
Yeah.
You would have to when you shorten it end up missing out on the nice little sort of sealed bit on the end of the cable. So or you could just cut it from the middle and join it in a bit of
Just
heat
use a
shrink or
twist
something
tie
like
or a rubber band.
that's
That's the cheapest option.
the
And then
Grudy.
if you need it
That's the
longer,
Grudy
you know,
way of
do
doing it. Come on.
Yeah. Okay. It's just so keeping your cables neat and organized is a bad thing. I mean,
No. That's a good thing there.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm talking about when Bruce says, cut it
Oh.
and splice it together. I don't think you
Well,
want to.
that definitely is a
Yeah.
Grudy shortcut.
Yeah.
I don't have a rubber band. I'm just gonna cut it and solder it.
Yeah.
If you want to save a lot of money over your lifetime of using Macs, just get a grab the camera here. Get a bench power supply right there, and hook up your own MagSafe cables.
There you go.
Last you forever. If the cable wears out, just plug in another cable.
Yeah,
Good to go.
$8 for another cable. You just wait a few weeks for it to come.
Well,
Just
you don't
make
have
sure
to
you
wait
set
for that. You can always
set it on the right voltage.
It's-
or the right wattage too, right?
I get my cables from the recycler for power bricks that got damaged, but the cable is still okay. Snip off the cable and hook it up.
Yeah, there you go. Not
Yeah.
bad.
I mean, if you have a laptop, it's kind of tricky. It has a handle, but it's kind of tricky to carry around. But it's doable.
I bought
Ideal for
a
testing.
I bought a power or a charger for my PowerBook G4 off of Amazon for it was one of those cheap $20 ones, and it still works. And it's never had any problem. But it's not a MagSafe. It's the old circular style plug.
Yeah, I think where you get into trouble is where these
Right.
cheaper companies are trying to mimic the look of Apple's. So
Right.
they're trying to compact them into this small shape, which Apple has perfected, I guess. But if you get one that looks like a standard brick, when the 2006 MacBook Pros came out, my company, for whatever reason, decided to go out and buy these third-party chargers. They never had a problem with it, but the charger was twice the size as Apple's. It looked like it just got stretched in the middle. And I'm sure it was a fine power supply. I mean, it's delivering just like Jay's bench power supply. It's a power supply is a power supply as long as it's manufactured properly. And it was working. It worked fine. But I think that's where most of these companies run into trouble. They try and emulate the look of Apple's, and you get a crummy one.
Yeah,
But I
and
have
Apple
plenty
doesn't do
from,
it that
like-
good either.
Yeah, well, I have plenty from like New Power and all those other companies, and for the old PowerBooks and iBooks, haven't had an issue with those.
But the important thing to remember with some of those really bad knockoff power supplies, it's not just a matter of the power supply failing; they can actually damage the laptop. And so, for a savings of a few dollars on a charger, to then end up having to get your laptop repaired, the amount of money you will spend getting that laptop repaired after it's been fried by a cheap power supply, it's really not worth it. It's a false economy.
Yeah, I'm sure there are protections in Apple's ones that these cheapo ones just don't have.
Oh yeah.
So I would go for a reputable company. If for some reason you can't get an Apple's one, let's say you're looking for an older PowerBook one or something like that.
Yeah. But anyways, guys, that's the whole moral of the story is just don't cheap out.
Yes.
Go for the original MagSafe connectors. Like I said, the stores still sell both of them. You can get both of them brand new. And even if you get a MagSafe 1, Apple even sells a little adapter that you can actually use a MagSafe 1 on a MagSafe 2 computer.
Used to be the cheapest thing in the Apple Store, $9.99.
Yeah.
That works, by the way. But if you run a repair shop, don't use those little adapters because they mess up the voltages a little bit. Not to the point where it'll mess up your charging or your operation, but if you're on a hardware test and you have an adapter with one of those, or a MagSafe with one of those adapters hooked up, the readings will be off and your hardware test will fail.
Yeah.
How does it do that? Because isn't it just a pass-through? Isn't it just... That's weird.
It is weird, but
it does have some. I think it does have some electronics built into it because I know for a fact that you actually, the reason why you can put it either way, and also it tells the charger how much power to actually send to the Mac at the time. So if the battery's charging, it's going to push out.
I thought the power adapter itself understood that, not the little.
No, the computer tells it.
No. I thought we were talking about the little 1 to 2 adapter.
Oh no, the 1 to 2, the adapter understands that. But when you plug it into the computer actually has to send a signal back saying, okay, I need charge I need this much wattage for the or power for the battery to charge.
Yeah.
So that's why you have the orange.
See a way to open these up.
Yeah.
To see if there's any electronics inside.
I would just. I mean, it's so small. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if there were electronics inside, but it's just converting the pins to a smaller
form
area
factor
to fit with the other. So I would if I was a betting man, I'd say that's just a pass through.
Yeah, if you have one at home, hook it up and start up your Mac holding down the D key to run the hardware test, and it'll likely fail.
I mean, the only reason that I did think it was just a pass through is there was one time where I was working on a Mac, and I'm sure when you take the little power supply board out of the computer, so it doesn't have the housing around it anymore, it's just the pins. I think when it's like that, you can still fit a MagSafe 1 onto it without the adapter. The adapter is what makes it sort of thin, long and thin to fit in there, but the actual pins are still in the same position. Yeah. And I could be wrong, I might be remembering this incorrectly, but I vaguely remember having a MagSafe 2 laptop and having the little, what do they call it, the power adapter board out of the computer and then connecting a, sort of a MagSafe 1 charger, and it did fit on it, I think. And it worked. So that would have led me to believe that it's just a pass-through, but I can't say for certain.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only other thing I want to also mention is sometimes you go to like the drugstores and you get those cheap USB cube charger things.
Oh, yeah.
Stuff like
Don't do that.
You got to be very careful about that because there's a reason they're $1 or $2 by the checkout counter.
Yeah. Treat the cables and adapters from gas stations and dollar stores like they're sushi. Just don't do it. You'll regret it.
Yeah.
Well, people have died from some of those dodgy chargers, dodgy phone chargers. So it's worth thinking about whether a cheap charger is worth your life.
Well, you got to remember too, like I just said before, is that the computer does communicate with the charger. So some of like you just said, some of those gas station ones probably don't have the communications built in, so it's still sending
or
power.
Have any safety measures at all.
Exactly. And that's what causes the fires.
Yep.
So
we have a question. We have a question in the live chat. Kenny says, will adding 0.01 amps to a laptop battery charger blow it up?
Probably not.
Probably not.
I would.
Seems like a very small amount.
Yeah.
The charger brick itself, that's why you can use an 85-watt charger on a MacBook Air or a MacBook that takes 45.
Yeah.
It's actually the plug that does the communicating with the SMC in the computer and says this much can pass through, this much has to be suppressed.
Well, you also got
the cheaper chargers don't have.
You also got to remember
really
that the computer is only going to draw as much power as it needs. It's not going to draw. So that's a good question too, because I actually tell a lot of customers in my store, whenever they buy one, I say buy the higher wattage power supply or adapter, because if you ever get another computer that requires the higher one, you're going to need it because you can't use a lower one on it. And because people go, well, isn't that going to affect it? I said, no. As long as the voltage is the same, the wattage can be higher.
Yeah, I mean, this actually applies for just power supplies in general. I mean, if it doesn't necessarily have to be a laptop power supply. If you've got a power supply for an external hard drive or a power supply for whatever, I mean, if you've got one there, and it needs, I don't know, whatever, a 12-volt power supply, and you're walking into your electronics store and you buy one of those, what they refer to as wall warts. So, there's those great big black boxes that you stick on there.
Yep, I know what you're talking about.
You always go with one that is a higher wattage, not a lower wattage, because if the current being drawn is more than that power supply can give out, it's very bad. But if the power supply has more than is required, it's not like it shoves that all down the line. It just gives what is required.
And
so generally, yeah.
No, I was going to say, and the benefit of that is that charger, that block, will actually run cooler because it's not
run cooler, last longer.
Exactly.
That's right.
Yep. Because the more you try to pull from it, the more it has to strain, the more heat it's going to generate, which means the less life it's going to be in it, and the possibility of it creating a fire from one of those cheap knockoffs.
Yeah.
Yep.
So don't cheap out.
Yes. All right. So let's go ahead and move on to our next topic. This is one we kind of threw in at the last second here.
No, it was in there for a week.
Oh, was it in there for a week?
All
right. So we were discussing this as we were getting ready for the show tonight. So Bruce actually asked, he said he was going to throw this in here. He says, what happens when friends and family find out you are smarter than them and you can fix their stuff?
I didn't say smarter than them. Jay said that.
Well, I actually put that in there, so I actually said that. So.
Oh, did it? Okay,
but
fair enough.
Anyways, I'll go first on that because I have that happen all the time. It's like once you get known that you know how to do something on an Apple or anything electronic per se, you're like the go-to person. Okay, any question that comes up, even stuff you may not even know, they ask you, "Can you fix this?" I'm like, I don't even know what that is.
That's someone messaged me today. Can you call me when you have a minute? Said, well, I'm a little busy right now. What's going on? I can call you later. My PC got hacked. I saw my mouse moving and all. PC says 90 specs. Why are you asking me?
Unplug it, format. There you go.
Yeah.
Yes, disconnect from the internet as quick as possible would be my suggestion with that.
So Action Retro, he goes, I have 3 unanswered texts from family members right now about computer questions.
That's like my phone at every given moment. Everyone yells at me because I have so many unanswered voicemails and text messages and emails. That's why. I have 3 brothers, I have a big family, and there's always either a relative or a brother or somebody, and it's always like at the last minute. Oh, by the way, I have this project due. Or, oh, by the way, I'm going to trade my phone in. I'm going to the store now, but it's doing this. I'm like, why did you call me a week ago?
Yeah, I mean, I've never minded helping people out. Now that I run a business, it's beneficial to have people figure out that I fix stuff. Yesterday, I had a beehive removed, and, it was a pretty nice day out. My window was open, so the guy's walking around the house. Inspecting, he sees the microscope. He's like, "Oh, what do you do?" I said, "I fix Apple stuff." "Oh, really?" He's dropping off 2 MacBook Pros tomorrow.
There you go.
So there are benefits to it.
Well, that's different, but we're talking about family because they don't expect you to pay for it.
Oh, I charge my brother.
Oh,
he's like my biggest customer. Hours a week helping that dude out, and I just bill him.
I was in a meeting the other day.
Since 1999, you should know by now how it is.
So Justin Morgan goes, I bought a "No, I will not fix your computer" shirt. It doesn't help.
Good to know. Let me cancel my order.
I was in a meeting the other day, a Zoom meeting. Obviously, that's sort of how meetings are going these days, and obviously most people don't have one of these when they're having a meeting. And so, I'm in the middle of the meeting, and these people are like, "Oh wow, that's a fancy microphone. Yeah, oh geez, your voice is really crisp and everything." I said, "Yeah, well, I do a little bit of YouTubing on the side." "Oh yeah, what do you do?" I repair vintage Macs." "Oh, can you fix the cracked screen on my iWatch?"
That's when you sit there and go, what part of vintage Macs did you not understand?
The best tip I heard for this, and I haven't tried it because all my family knows already, But the best tip I've heard is say, "Oh no, I don't do PC or Mac. I just do Linux stuff." And everyone's like, "Oh."
Oh.
As they go down in your basement and see all those Macs.
No, those are just for display. That one there, that's for display. They don't work.
I mean, look, it's nice to be able to help people. When it comes to like sort of friends and family, I like to be able to do that. I mean, it's if they've got a problem with their computer, within reason, of course. But I mean, I had repaired a MacBook Pro just the other day from one of my customers that I do programming for. So I mean, it's a little bit extra, I suppose. I mean, obviously they expect to be charged for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, once the word gets out, I mean, you just start getting inquiries from everywhere.
Yep.
Yeah, and I learned very early on, even when it was just a hobby, not a business. Everybody wants it for free or heavily discounted. I don't care if you're my mom, my brother, guy off the street. These are my rates. Now, of course, I'm not going to charge my mom because she whooped my ass. But if you come to me for help, I'm not going to encourage the expectation that it's a freebie.
Okay, so are you going to charge your wife?
Huh?
I said, are you going to charge Wendy?
Thing.
Oh yeah, she has a running bill that she never intends to pay.
And you're never. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I usually get compensated in food or petty cash, but it's not anywhere near what I would, of course, charge for a non-family member. But I mean,
food is always an acceptable currency.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It is,
especially if chocolate is involved.
Here's this big plate of cookies.
Or Jay's Case spaghetti.
Oh, yeah. Here's a vat of lasagna. That'll keep you for a month.
They'll be gone tomorrow.
Beer's always pretty good currency around these parts.
Yeah, that too. Yeah.
Beer is actually a pretty good currency. Yeah, or pizza.
Yeah, this one's going to cost you 2 slabs.
All right, so have we drugged that one out enough, or do we want to move on?
Yeah,
I think it's a pretty
universal. What I want to say is whenever your family asks you to do this stuff, I keep reminding them, as we've talked about a lot in the show, back up your stuff, because that's the call I get most from my family and friends. Like they're doing their taxes and all of a sudden their hard drive died or whatever, and it's like, oh, I don't have my previous tax return. Did you back up your stuff? No. Did you buy that hard drive I told you? No.
Well, then that's your problem.
That's actually a really good point to just sort of lead me on to another little sort of quick little anecdote, and that is that I regularly get people asking me about their iPhones, because they know I'm an Apple person and they've bought an iPhone, whatever, and they're like, oh man, my iPhone's acting funny, it's doing weird stuff. It's like, okay, no worries, that's all good, we'll just plug it into the computer, we'll erase it and restore it and that. And it's like, I don't know how to do that. Okay, well, no worries, you just plug it into your computer. How do I do that? And I mean, are you saying you've never plugged this into your computer? You've just basically bought this, you've taken photos, you've sort of loaded apps, you've done all that thing.
Bruce,
you've never actually synchronized it with your computer at any stage.
Okay, where I work at, we have people going to Geek Squad that asking questions exactly like that, and that's the reason. That's the reason why we make a lot of money at my store at Geek Squad is for people like that, because guess what? They don't have a clue.
It's the flip side. The people that you do help, whether it's friends, family, whatever, you tell them to get a backup. So they go and buy a drive, or you buy it for them, you set it all up, and then a year down the line, it's like, my Mac won't turn on anymore. All right, well, it looks like you got a bad hard drive there. A few dents on the corner, you probably bounced it off the ground a few too many times, your hard drive bill. Let's put a new one in and restore your backup. Okay, so you put a new drive in, you restore the backup, last backup, July 8th, 2017. What the heck? Oh, well, you set it up. How is this on me?
That reminds me of when I used to do PC support, and I would install Malwarebytes or Avast antivirus or whatever it was, and I would look in my little ledger of like when I last visited them, and whenever the virus definitions were updated last was when I last visited. They would turn it off or whatever.
Here's
What are you doing?
But Jay, here's the bad thing though, is that the Mac, and mine does this all the time because I always forget to do it sometimes on my MacBook. Is it'll pop up say, hey, your Mac hasn't been updated in so many days, and it'll pop up every time. So
Yeah,
it's not.
they'll ignore it.
Yeah.
They'll keep ignoring it. It's like, oh yeah, I meant to ask you about that. 3 years, birthdays, Christmases. You've seen me how many times?
I
No,
mean,
no,
I
no.
think
You're not gonna pin this on me, buddy.
the thing that gets me the most with, in the current day, where once upon a time people would be going around taking photos with their old cameras or even a digital camera, and then loading them onto their computer. These days, people are just using their phones to take photos, and often they're just using their phones to show people their photos as well. And the fact that someone could either lose the phone or have the phone sort of damaged or whatever, and have and like, oh my goodness, all those photos. It's like, I mean, how much do you value these photos if you're not doing any form
Yeah.
of backup of these at all? I mean, how easy is it to lose a phone, or drop it in the toilet or whatever the case may be? I
Or
mean,
have it stolen even.
yeah, that's right. And I just, I just always to be in that situation where something has happened to the phone and then going, oh, my photos are gone. I sort of feel like, what were you thinking? I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah, pay the few dollars a month to have an iCloud backup, or learn how to do it yourself. I mean, it's not.
Yeah.
It's nice actually having like a physical print of. I got one of those Fuji Instax cameras. It's like a Polaroid type thing, and it's fun because you get the photo instantly. Of course, I'm scanning them in and duplicating them, but it's like people just take for granted. Oh, it's always going to be there until it isn't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The store I used to work at, and I left at the end of 2015, and even then, there were so many people that had their phone, and they do it at the setup. They get you set up with an iCloud account. You walk out the store, your backups are going, everything is going, and they make it sound like you never need a computer again. Eventually, they show up at the Genius Bar, and something went wrong and went in the toilet, or car drove over it, whatever, or just a simple glitch, the corruption in the operating system, and you get it up and running enough to make a backup, and they've never done a backup before. So they would just go to the accessory wall, and there would be a line of people with the phone plugged into the chargers waiting for their backup to finish. And we had to start telling people in, I think, 2013 or 14, you need to go home to do this. Our store Wi-Fi was so bogged down by all the people doing iCloud backups.
No.
We had to tell them to get out of there and do it at home.
Yep.
Yeah,
That
now-
was half of the appointments was people, oh, it doesn't work. Do you have a backup? No. Goodbye. Next.
Now it tells you, because I got my battery replaced, and one of the questions it asks you, do you have a backup? And then they ask you again at the store, and I'm sitting there waiting in line, and I did an iCloud backup like in the morning, so I'm like, well, I'm here, I'll do it again. 2 minutes done.
But that's you, not people uploading 60 gigs of photo libraries.
Well,
Yeah.
that's the reason why I have mine automatically loads everything to my iCloud, and then I have my iPhoto library on my computer that it automatically puts it on that. So I don't ever have to plug it into the computer per se, but anything that I take on my phone is automatically on my computer. So I mean, they make it so simple today, but like Jay said, people still don't do it.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I will tell everyone is if you use iCloud and you get a message, oh, you don't have enough space, but you think you bought space, just check your credit card. It's probably expired or something. Obviously, your recurring payment to Apple is stopped, and therefore you're not having the space you used to. That's the most common thing I've experienced with my relatives. They will, not have that updated or whatever.
Yeah.
And then their 50 gigs they're paying for, it's like $1 a month or whatever, is no longer there.
Yeah,
Simple.
I'm paying for 200 gigabytes of data storage, which I think I use maybe half of it right now, but I think I only pay like $3 something a month. So
Yeah, it's well worth the
Yeah.
piece of money.
it is.
I
Buy
think
that
this makes
instead
a
of the
fun
phone
topic
insurance.
for next week, or maybe even now, like error messages and warnings, how people deal with them.
We could talk about
Dismiss.
that.
Dismiss.
Do we just
Dismiss.
keep clicking them away? Do we act on them? Do we?
My brother used to do phone support for a school when he was in school, and all the college kids were like, "Yeah, I'm having a problem." Well, did you get a message? Yeah. What did it say? I don't know. I clicked it away. It's like, what'd you do?
That's why
That's the one that drives me bonkers when people contact you and say, "Oh, I'm getting an error message." Okay, what's the message? I don't know.
I clicked it off and
The computer is trying to communicate with you. Okay, just please understand that it's trying to tell you something. You need to listen to it. It's just the fact that someone goes, it just keeps coming up with this error message. What does it say? I don't know. I mean, I just don't get that.
oh, we could go
My
on for
dad
hours on
has-
this one.
My dad's got an iPhone 8, and he kept getting the "this phone hasn't been backed up in so many days" message. Well, how do I fix that? Well, you got an iMac at home, plug it into that, and you'll see iTunes come up, and you say backup, and back up to the computer or backup. Well, it had to be the computer. They don't have iCloud. And I said it's that easy. So I can do it when I come up to the house sometime. And this went on for like 2 months. I keep getting that message. What do I do? It's like, Dad, you got to plug it into the computer.
How do I do that?
Cable that came with it that you charge with, plug that into the computer. Oh, you can do that?
Yeah. Oh, you don't know how many people I've told at the store there that that I tell them the cable that they bought is because they want to come buy a cable to plug their computer into or plug their phone into their computer.
Yeah. It's the same
And
cable.
that's what I tell them. I said, "Do you have the charge cable for it?" They're like, "Well, yeah, it's the same cable."
Unplug it.
Just unplug it from the little power brick and plug it into the computer. And they're like, "Really?" I'm not exaggerating. I've had people
Yeah.
like,
And
I said, "I just saved you $20 or $30."
Here's my PayPal. Yeah.
Well, it's amazing how people will get a letter in the mail. They read it. It says, "Call now for your doctor wants to talk to you," or they see a sign that says, "Go left for the highway, go right for a ravine." People read instructions all day long, but when it comes to an error message on their screen that spells out letter for letter what they need to do to resolve that message, suddenly they're like, "What do I do?" Read and do what it says.
The computer's
never
messed
happens.
up.
Job security, I guess.
Yep.
I love the one time I had to help a coworker, and they this was years ago, and they were in their 60s or so, and they just got a smartphone, and they said, "Well, I plugged it into the computer, but nothing's happening." And sure enough, I'm looking at the cable, and I followed the USB cable. It was plugged into the Ethernet jack because it was just enough to fit in there if you just wedged it in there.
Oh.
And I'm like, that's not supposed to go in there, and I just moved it. Oh, yeah. It's like it's not charging. Well, no wonder why it's not connected.
Wow, it's amazing.
I deal with that stuff all the time, and I have a good laugh about it here on Mac Yak or offline or whatever.
But it's frustrating in real life.
I never shame people when that happens. It's hard not to because I've been doing this for so long. It's like, oh, are you stupid? No, they might be the first time for them, or so it's hard to sometimes go back to when I first started doing this. Like, okay, this is why you're doing what you're doing, probably.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But, it does make for a good Mac Yak.
Yes, it does.
It does.
All right.
Because we've all got good stories.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have some good ones tonight, I think, too. So, all right, guys. So let's go ahead and move on to our game round. So, if you guys are not familiar with this is our Eep if you have, Quack if you haven't.
Everybody's familiar with it.
Everyone should be familiar with it.
Yeah.
So basically, we're going to read out some stuff here. It's like, have you ever? And if you have, you're going to say Eep. And if you have not, you're going to say Quack. Simple as that. All right. So the first one. Man, there's another one in there. I only had 3 in there earlier, so I guess somebody added one. All right. So, have you ever killed a computer by using the wrong power supply? And that was submitted by Scarlet Swordfish, by the way.
Not a computer, but an accessory. Eep.
I'll quack that.
I'm going to say Quack because usually it doesn't turn on, and then I say, oops, I got the wrong one, and put the right one in, and it powers right up.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've broken computers lots of other ways, but I don't think that way.
So I'm going to Quack that.
Quack
have goals.
Eep on
And
the
Dana?
I'm going to say Quack. Not a computer. I have ruined peripherals, like Steve said. With
Yeah.
So this is Scarlet
incorrect power supply.
Swordfish's suggestion, and he actually eat. So
Yeah.
so he's
One
gonna
of few.
he's gonna have to tell us how he did that. So
I think the closest I ever came was, and I think I've told this story before, but I bought a PowerBook 3400, brand new, and it had the audio jacks and the microphone and all that on the front left side, and I plugged in a set of powered speakers to the headphone jack, and it ruined the jack. The jack never worked again. I'd only had the thing like 2 weeks. But I mean, it didn't kill the computer, but it killed the audio jack. I could never use headphones with it. So that's probably the closest I've ever come.
Yes.
I've killed power supplies. Well, I've killed one power supply.
Yeah.
The first time I tried to, you know how you can turn a power supply on by bridging two of the pins with a paperclip, kind of simulated
Let
being
me
connected
guess.
to a board.
You got the wrong.
I shorted
two
the
pins.
wrong pins and fried the power supply.
Oops.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Scarlet Swordfish answered in the chat. He said he killed his Newton Message Pad 2000 by
Ooh.
trying to use a Sega Game Gear power adapter on it.
Ouch. Whoops.
I don't know what the power requirements are for those, but
the Game Gear
obviously
is,
it wasn't a match.
Yeah.
the Game Gear is a 10 volt or a 9 volt. So I actually have the power cord right here for a
Yeah.
Sega.
You know what's
It has a
funny
yellow
about
tip.
that? I have a bucket full of adapters and power charger, all kinds of different stuff. And if I need a specific power adapter, first thing I look for is I look for the type of plug that I need. Then I look at the actual adapter and see, does it provide the right voltage and the right
15
amperage?
watts. Oh boy. Yeah,
You
that's a chunky one.
Let me tell you, everybody watching right now, how to organize your power supplies. The wrong way. I have here a one of those hard drive
Oh yeah.
USB things to read out, and I put a label on it. I have boxes full of this. Every power supply looks the same. They're not always branded, so I put stickers on them, exactly like that. And I put them all in a giant box.
Yep.
A huge box. A box about half the size of my office. And then I put it in the garage. And then a year later, when I need a power supply, I go and look for it. And I find a box full of power supplies without labels. Because all the labels
They all
melted
fell
off,
off.
and they're all in the bottom of the bin, and now I don't know what any of them are.
You need better
If it
labels.
gets hot
Yeah.
in your garage or your basement or wherever, use labels that can handle that.
You need, as
I
I
always
say,
seem to run out of
Yeah.
high wattage 12 volt power supplies. That's the one that always seems to be the highest demand. So 12 volt power supplies with the highest, like we say, I don't know, 1 amp or,
Well,
sort of 2 amps.
I
like
have
that. They
a
always-
Astron up here that I use for my ham radio stuff. It's a 12 volt power supply, and that thing puts out 35 amps. So
Ooh,
wow.
yeah, so
That must be huge.
oh, it's a
Like
big.
that.
The thing's about a foot wide by about half a foot deep and about a foot
That
deep.
is huge.
Well, it's basically made because it powers a lot of ham radio gear, which requires a lot of wattage and a lot of amps.
Yeah, don't just assume power supplies will. Oh, it fits. It must work.
No.
Yeah.
yeah.
You
That
got
could
to.
be a whole other topic.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
by the way, Steve, here's your power supply. I'm waiting on Bruce to give me a list of all the caps that need to go in there.
Yep. Well, that list is coming soon because you gave me all those wonderful measurements. That's greatly appreciated. So I'll send you a list of all the most expensive ones you can buy.
Yeah. All right.
Steve's paying for it.
So we got
No, that wasn't the deal we had.
to.
New deal.
All right.
Just on this Eat Quack here, just very quickly, Justin Morgan did mention the 120 240 volt switch on the back, which I think
Yep.
also qualifies under this one. That if you've
We had one of the Eep Quacks a while back with that.
If
Did we?
if
Yeah,
you count
okay.
that, then I would say EEP because when I was because when I was in Germany, okay, they used 220, and some of the stuff I have was 22110, and I forgot to switch it to 220, and it was a computer power supply, and it burnt. It was in the PC, so it didn't matter. It was a PC, so Yeah,
Ooh,
I got
did
the
one-
magic. I got the magic smoke out of it. So
I got a we were in Italy in 2008, and I had a fast 15-minute battery charger for these Rayovac AA batteries, and I had a camera that took AA batteries. It was a digital camera at the time, and I thought, oh, I'll just plug this into this adapter, and like instantly it goes like making this smell, and I'm like, I bet that's not good. And I unplugged it. The whole hotel reeked of that for a while.
yep. All right, so let's go for the next one here. Next one. Have you ever desperately searched for a file you need only to mysteriously find it in the trash can? And that comes from Sean from Action Retro.
Eep eep.
Eat.
Eat.
Yeah, he
Absolutely.
probably.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's that keyboard shortcut that you accidentally do that makes it go into the trash. You're like,
I have it all the time. I have multiple windows open, and I click on a file, and I do command delete, and it turns out that this window wasn't active. A window over there somewhere was active.
Mm.
So I hear the sound. It's in the trash. Nothing happened, so I do it again, and meanwhile I deleted a completely different file somewhere else. So I make it a point to go through my trash at the end of the day to see like, wedding album. That shouldn't be there.
now you're making me
Let's
open
take
my
that out.
Yeah, I do the same thing. I go through the trash before especially I see the like right now I see the trash in it, so I will later on click on that to open it and see. Okay, yeah, that's trash. Now I can empty it.
We have a lot of quacks. I don't trust this.
I know. I see that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Every week there's some liars among us.
I think so too. All right, next one. Have you ever permanently lost something important when upgrading your phone and transferring stuff over? This also comes from Sean from Action Retro.
Quack.
I think so.
Yes. Eat.
Not that I remember,
Absolutely.
but probably.
I
It
think
was
I
an
have
old
too, so I'm
iPhone
going to say eat.
3G.
Eat quack.
I think what happened to me, I did an update, and something happened in the middle of the update. It screwed up, and this was the iPhone 3G. So these recovery utilities for iPhones were in its infancy, and I think I got back most of the stuff I had, but I lost some things.
Well, back in the day before, like you said, iCloud and all this other stuff, um, if you had to back up to the computer, there was no way
Yeah.
around it. And sometimes, like if you had game data and stuff, it would not transfer over sometimes, and so you do an update or something, and all of a sudden, all your game data, so you had to start over.
And
You're
my
like,
brother so upset. My brother did some update, and he had to restore his phone or whatever, because that was in the day all these app developers were just making their apps. However, there was no like set way for Game Center or iCloud to like
Mhm.
save these files. Now I think it's better. Most of these games take advantage of that stuff.
yeah.
But yeah, I remember my mother-in-law updating her phone. It's like, am I gonna lose my game? I'm like, I don't know.
And then she loses it, and then she's like beating you over side the head.
It's an Android phone. I don't
So-
know. I don't know nothing.
So before I had my first iPhone, I had a Verizon phone. I think it was called a Dare phone or something like that. It looked like a smartphone. It had the touch screen and all that.
Look like a
Um,
smartphone.
And because it was like I think they came out with it right after the original iPhone, and so it was type of this type of form factor where you had your touch screen. There were no buttons on it. Everything was touch screen, and so I got an iPhone 5S, and I went to the Verizon store and I said, now look, I've got a bunch of photos and videos on this old phone here. Oh no, don't worry, we'll back all that up and put it on the new phone. And I said, okay, all right. So I came back. Oh yeah, we weren't able to get those photos over, and now the old phone's been wiped. And I was like, you idiots. It's like, I could have found a way. I could have like Googled something or found a way to because I knew how to get files off of it. And I said, can you just make it easy and just transfer these over? And oh yeah, sure. He had no idea how to do it, and they didn't do it. They
Never
wiped it
trust
and
anyone
also-
else with your data.
You should see
Yeah.
it at my store because we had one of those data transfer things that transfers from one type of phone to another,
Yeah.
and it takes hours for it to do that.
Celebrite.
Celebrite, that's it, yeah. And the ones they have are so old that it takes, and this is no joke, takes hours to do a transfer. That's how slow they are. Because it has to.
I've been backing up since my first iPhone. I've always backed up to iTunes. Before that, I had Nokia and I think one Samsung phone, and I could back those up over Bluetooth or I think limited access with the USB cable or USB A or B or micro, whatever was on there. I've always been really strict about backups, so never lost anything yet.
All right, so this last one is getting a little bit controversial, but we'll go ahead and put it in here. Have you installed the latest iOS and opted in to COVID tracking?
Quack.
Quack.
I don't update my
Whack.
things because they break.
I haven't updated.
I updated and I got the message where it said, "You have made changes to your iPhone. Do you want to apply these changes?" And I said, "What changes have I made?" And I remembered in the notes for the update, it said it was the whole COVID-19 opt-in, opt-out thing. And I went, what changes have they made? You know, are they defaulting to not opt in, or are they defaulting to opt in? So I said, don't apply the changes. And now I'm just reminded of it. So I'm going to go and look and see what it did.
So
we
Not a
thought,
single-
well,
Yeah, see, there's a whole new section here under system preferences, exposure notifications.
Yep.
And it is
exposed.
off. So that's good.
Not
well,
a single E.
Yeah.
yeah, I see that. In fact, Action Retro goes, I haven't updated iOS in years. So
He's
he's
on iOS 3 probably.
yeah. He's still using an iPhone 3G.
I just got stickers and messages. Ooh.
What?
I keep getting lost with Google Maps.
Do you guys remember the day back when Messages was on the iPhone and they didn't have MMS on it?
Oh yes.
Yeah, remember those days? Oh, those
My
sucked.
girlfriend, my then girlfriend, my now wife, was always sending me pictures, and I had to use the you could send a picture message, but you had to do it via email.
Yeah,
Because each Verizon or AT&T or whatever,
it was
they had
AT&T
email
at the
address.
time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I sent, but she had Verizon, so I sent her. I would send an email to like vzw.pix.net or some weird thing with the phone number, and about 9 times out of 10 it would fail. Once in a while you get a picture, and
And
then
the quality. Oh my God.
the quality was horrible. But then it was about a year or two after she switched to an iPhone. All of a sudden she got this text message that I sent her via this email method like 3 years ago, and she's like, "Why'd you send this to me?" I'm like, I didn't send that to you. And then we're looking at it and we're like, oh my God, that's ancient.
I've just thought of another eat quack. So
Oh, go for it, yeah.
We've probably
Go.
done some sort of variation of this one, but I'm going to do it anyway in the past. But have you ever got your active Windows mixed up and accidentally typed the wrong thing into a live chat?
Oh, yes.
Eep,
Yeah.
eep, eep.
Yeah, especially when you're complaining about somebody to somebody else.
I actually think we did that one last week, didn't we? Or the week before?
Yeah, I think it was. I think what we did was, like when you send a message to the wrong person. But this is like when you're actually like you might be typing. You thought you were about to type in a URL into your browser, and you type that into a live chat, or
Your password
you know.
into your username field, and
Yeah.
something
Eep,
like
eep,
that.
eep, many, many, many eeps.
Yeah, I've done that many
the
times.
one that always gets me is when you're logging into like Gmail or Google Drive or whatever. If you press Tab because you're thinking, oh, there's a password field under it. If you press Tab, it actually goes to the forgot password thing. So if you press Tab and then Enter, then it goes, oh, did you forget your password? And you're like, wait, no, and you have to go back.
Because the way the new way they do stuff now, they only have the login, and then you
Yeah.
have to hit enter, and then the next screen is the password. So
Yeah.
it's dumb, but it's how they do it now.
I had a friend send me a text 2 days. Today's Thursday. Yeah, two or 3 days ago. I get a text that says Pornhub. What about it? And you see the little bubbles pop up, like he's typing something, then it goes away. typing something, then it goes away. That went on for 15 minutes. He's like, oh, I saw an ad you should see, but it's gone now. Like, he tried like hell to think of an excuse. Like, dude, nice try, but no. Enjoy your night.
Wrong window. Oops.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh, okay. I gotta get compose myself here because that was funny. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to our next item here.
We have
And
a next item?
oh yeah, oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
what were they smoking?
Oh,
is
yeah,
our
I
next
forgot
one.
about
Yay.
That's the whole reason I'm here tonight.
Yeah, whole
Let's do
reason.
it.
So I'm going to switch us over to the other screen where I could show this at the same time. So
Yes,
we're going
please
to do
do.
that. So we're going to let me pull it up here. But what we have here is something that why is that? Let me see. Hold on.
Close Pornhub.
Yeah. No, I gotta remember where it is here. There it is. Okay. Why is it not showing? There we go. All right. So this popped up in our chat between all of us the last few days, but this is a guy that everyone probably knows, and I won't be afraid to say his name, Jonathan Goldman.
Well, it's up on the screen there. So
Exactly.
You're not as brave as you think you are.
So the reason why this one might take a while because I think a lot of us have finally had enough of this guy, and I know we don't want to use
Damn sure.
Mac Yak as a public shaming, but this guy deserves to be publicly shamed. I mean, he's selling these Apple PowerBook Duo 2300C 48 megabyte RAM memory modules, maximum upgrade kit, rare part. However, it's so rare he has 10 of them.
Do you have a screenshot of the comment below that post?
No, this is not a post. This is the
The one
eBay.
that
I
I
know,
made.
but they posted this on Facebook, and Dana wrote a freaking book that
A
I
manifesto.
do have
I
that.
ordered
I
copies.
didn't send it to Greg, but yeah, I have it on my screen here.
Can you do a dramatic reenactment of your reading of it? please?
Yeah.
Arnold voice.
Yeah, read it.
Arnold wants.
His throat is
Arnold.
gonna be bleeding by
myself.
the end
It's
of
too long.
Yeah.
So, anyways, this guy's.
So, all right.
Well, hold on first before you go to that. But this guy's trying to sell these for $4,800. Okay? But here's the catch, though. He sold 7 of them. So you would think, how many people, 7
Has
people,
he, though?
bought those for $4,800? You would
Has he,
be.
though?
Huh? No.
Well,
That's the question.
hold on.
I-
Really
what-
sold.
But here's the
what
thing.
I actually
If
happen
you
to
actually
know
click on
about
that,
Goldman-
the 7 that are sold, the most expensive one was $150.
Yeah.
So
Make an
Yeah.
offer.
yeah, exactly.
So I know that this is a tactic that he utilizes because I've spoken to some people that have bought stuff from him, and I've seen things for sale at an outrageous price, and I've talked to people who have bought those things, and I've just been like, oh man, I can't believe you paid that much, and they say, oh no, I didn't pay that much, I made an offer and he accepted it. He of course is just using those incredibly high numbers to try and make the offers higher. So he's definitely not selling them for that amount, but the idea is that if he's setting an expectation that this is what this is worth or what he believes it's worth, you're not going to come in and offer him like $20 or something. If you're going to make a genuine offer, you're going to be coming in with an offer that is, is very high. So that's definitely a tactic that he uses, because I do know for a fact with some of the stuff I've seen on there, I know he didn't get anywhere near the sale price, but he just sets that price really high so that the offers end up higher as well.
Yeah. Well, here's the flip side of that too, because he goes around trolling all these groups that people are actually enthusiasts and want to help other enthusiasts by selling parts. They'll be selling it at a reasonable price, which is not a problem, but he wants to try to bargain it down to the rock bottom price he can get it at, so he could go back and flip it on eBay for these prices. And that's where I don't like his tactics.
No. Yeah.
They might. None of it's illegal. Don't get me wrong there. It's not illegal, but it is very
unscrupulous.
Exact. That's the word I used.
There's one thing that really annoys me with him. Now, he may not have done it on this one, I didn't notice, but I've seen him do this in the past, where he says in his sale description, in this auction we have blah 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 blah. And of course, my response to that is, this is not an auction.
No, it's not.
You're actually, if you're setting a sale price, it's not an auction. And that to me is actually another thing that really frustrates me, because when people get up onto these forums and say, look, this is ridiculous, the price you're charging. You're a cancer on the sort of the hobby and stuff like that. And his response, and it's not just from him, it's from obviously his buddies, or maybe it's just him with a different name. They say things like, oh no, this is a rare item, this is what they're worth, blah blah blah, all this is sort of stuff. And my reaction to that is, if you genuinely want to know what these items are worth, you put them up for an auction.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You put it up there with whatever your starting price, $10, $50, whatever you want. Set a starting price. Sort of whatever you want to see, and then have it run for an auction, and the market will decide what it's worth.
Yep.
So when he comes in and they say, "Oh no, look, this is what these items are worth," it's like, well, no, that's what you say they are worth.
Right.
If you want to know what the market thinks they're worth, auction this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Don't put it up with these obscenely high prices, because otherwise you're just making stuff up. You don't know that they're worth that.
Exactly.
And
well, here's the thing too, and you just said that, Bruce. This is the wording in this particular one. For your consideration at this wonderful auction,
Yep.
is a rare.
It's not an auction.
Copy and paste.
But it's not an auction. It's
there's no
it's a buy it
option
now
to bid on anything.
or make offer.
Yeah.
You can make an offer, but that's not an auction.
Yeah.
This
No,
listing.
It's a listing. Yeah.
Yep. And so that's something that really frustrates me. I mean, don't call it an auction when it's not an auction.
Exactly.
Yeah, and the problem with this is, look, obviously anybody has the right to sell whatever they want and ask whatever price it wants. The problem being is that, and I'm not just going to say it's just this guy, but people like this guy are the problem of why this stuff has skyrocketed so much in price. I mean, if you listen to any one of our streams or our shows or our individual programs that we do on YouTube, we always talk about how back in the day, nobody wanted this stuff. It was dirt cheap because everyone was PC minded. Nobody wanted an Apple thing, blah, blah, blah. Now, because the iPhone and the iPod and all this stuff has become popular over the past few years, this stuff is becoming popular again by enthusiasts, and some of us are revisiting this stuff, etc.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yes, I would say that some of the older stuff, there is a value there. Of course, there is for some of the more hard-to-find items, the souped-up models, the upgrade
truly
cards
hard
and
to find stuff. Yeah.
It commands a higher price, like a Daystar upgrade card. I would expect to pay a little more than that than I'd expect to pay for a mouse or a keyboard or whatever. But what's going on now is everything is going up in price, and I mean everything. An ADB cable, which is just an S-video cable, a power cable just because it has an Apple branded thing on it. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. And you look at things like the Apple IIe card, which I would say, I'd price that without the cable. I'd say $100 is a fair price for the card. But I'm seeing them asking price $600, which is absolutely just insane. And I understand that's exactly like this listing. The guy doesn't want $600. He wants as much as he can get for it. And you know what? Fine. But you get these people that 9 times out of 10, when they go to sell something, you see it on these Facebook groups all the time. I swear half of the posts are, how much is this worth? And it's like, what is it worth to you? Obviously, you just got this thing and you're thinking of flipping it. Then go ahead and flip it. Don't get the hive minds collective of how much can I get and squeeze out of somebody for this thing, and then post it on eBay. And then the next person that comes along and is looking and saying, oh, I have that same thing. He got $50 for it. I want 100. And it's this terrible cycle. It's like, this stuff is old. We collect it and play around with it because we enjoy it. And people like this just ruin it for a lot of us. And and
it's kind of a catch-22 also, because you ask a question like that on a public forum, and there's lots of people who think that they can sit there and answer the question, and you're going to get 100 different answers, and maybe some of them will be similar, but everybody wants to weigh in and be the expert on
Yeah.
that sort of thing.
But the problem
And
is you're going to
it's
get people
absurd.
like Goldman that's going to sit there and say, "Oh yeah, it's not worth anything. You should just sell it to me for $5 or whatever." And then he turns around
Yeah.
and flips it for 120. You know.
Yeah.
I
We
was
should do a rant video on this.
yeah.
Because I also object to the term flip when you are selling, the same item exactly the same as you
Yeah,
bought.
you're not fixing it.
Right.
You know, for
Flip
me, the idea of
indicates
flipping,
that you have fixed it and you are selling
right.
it.
So-
You put
barely
work
wipes
into it,
down.
and now you're charging for
Yeah.
the work that you put into it.
I mean,
which,
knowing that he sold like a color classic for premium dollars, that
and it
needed
wasn't even
recapping.
recapped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean that to me is just that's
That's
offensive.
just
Everybody
it-
that
it
ever
makes the
sold
community look
anything
terrible, too.
to Goldman should be offended because he lowballed you. He probably screwed you 6 ways from Sunday and then sold it for way more.
Yep.
So not only did he not probably, we hear stories from people that he's dealt with. Okay? He lowballs you, he tries to scam you out of product, pay as little as possible, and then he flips it or resells it for more. And basically anyone who's ever sold anything to him got lied to and what's the word, haggled.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
how he has any fans out there,
So-
other than his own ghost
And
account,
you,
I don't know.
you disagree with him and he blocks you. So it's,
Yeah, that's the other thing. Yeah, and he's been banned from multiple Facebook groups for doing this type of thing when it was against the rules, or from some of the ones lately for blocking the admins when they tell him that he can't do something. And as soon as you block an admin, well, then they're going to kick you out. But I've had a chat going today with a guy that was selling a Quadra 950, and I can't remember which group it was on, and I didn't get his permission to post any of the text that we had sent back and forth. But basically, he put it up, and Goldman said, "Well, I'm interested in buying this." Well, of course you are, because you're going to turn around and try and sell it for $800, and he's showing me screen grabs of his conversation with this guy, and Goldman's being a complete jerk to him, and he's telling him that, oh well, your configuration is this, and lying outright to this guy about the condition and the configuration of the computer that he's got right in front of him, trying to talk him down to some ridiculously low price so that he can take it and sell it for a ton of money. And it's totally unscrupulous, and it's disgusting, and he's one of the reasons people like him are one of the reasons that our hobby as collectors has gone from being something that was fun and affordable to frustrating and in many cases not affordable.
Yeah.
And it's just,
Mhm.
I mean,
It
it's
takes all the
something
fun
we
out
do
of it.
for fun. I mean, the group that he was in when this all went down yesterday, the group is called Vintage Apple Macintosh Enthusiasts, not flippers, not price gougers, enthusiasts. It's an enthusiast group.
Mm.
And so when you get this guy and people like him going on eBay and posting these ridiculous prices for things, it makes other people go, oh wow, I can post something for that too. And I would say it's certainly in the last 5 years, but probably more the last 10 years, you've had people doing this, and the prices have gone way up. Like in my reply, I said, you see classics selling on eBay today for $250, where 10 years ago, $40 was considered highway robbery.
Yeah.
For the same
Yeah.
thing. They are barely any rarer today than they were then, and these things were produced in the numbers of hundreds of thousands. And to think that something like that is worth $250 today is laughable, and it's guaranteed to need fixing.
500 here.
Yeah, and exactly. It's even worse in Australia and
Yeah.
sometimes in Europe too, depending on the model.
And the problem is that people like us know that price is too expensive or whatever. But you're going to get somebody who's new to this, or
Exactly.
somebody
Yeah.
who's cleaning out their garage or whatever, and they don't look at the sold listings on eBay, or maybe they do and they're not a tech savvy person. They think they want more. And it just sets up a dangerous precedent. Like, look, if I want to sell something for a high price, fine. No one's gonna stop me, and no one's gonna stop this guy from doing that stuff too. But it's like it just like ruins this entire friendly market
Yeah,
where I used to be able to message somebody and say, oh, I'll trade you this for that. Oh, okay. Now it's like, well, I'm looking at eBay and this sold for $500. I want that. And I'm like, all right, good luck.
And good luck.
It's such an important point, is that the sort of community component of this hobby, when we're with a lot of these groups, and there are some Australian groups that I'm part of here as well, vintage Mac groups, there's a wonderful sort of atmosphere and wonderful attitude. Oh, look, I'm looking out for something like this. Oh yeah, I've got one of those, no worries. And I mean, there's a guy that I've done recapping for, and I bought a few computers from him because he was trying to thin out his collection and everything like that. And he was selling me these computers for $50 each or something like that. And these are computers that Goldman would be selling for hundreds of dollars. This guy's not looking to gouge me. He's not looking to profit from me, because this is all part of, we are, fellow enthusiasts in the same hobby.
Yeah.
And we're not trying to actually, screw each other every day. This is where we're actually going, oh, look, I did a good thing for this person. He's going to do a good thing for me later on.
Yeah.
That's that sort of attitude. And that's the most frustrating part of it. Any hobby like this, it just is so much more enjoyable when people have that more of a sharing, giving sort of attitude. I'm not saying people should rip themselves off or anything, or leave themselves short, but it's just got really silly.
Yeah, and I get messages on my Instagram all the time from people, oh, I got this Mac, what do you think it's worth? And the first question I always ask them is, what do you want to do with it? And my answer to them will differ completely if they say, oh, I just want to sell it, or no, I want to fix it up, I want to do this, I want to do that with it. Because, look, if you're going to get into this hobby and you're just going to resell stuff, well, people have been there and done that before, and there's a reason why, people are sick of it. And it's just, I don't think it benefits the community at all.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
not
it is
meant
all
to
about
be
the community, and you have to be a collector to understand and to have that mindset. Like this thing from yesterday. I already forgot what it's called, but I wrote it on the envelope. Give to
SCSI card, yeah.
SCSI card.
Oh yeah.
You looked it up. It goes for $25 on eBay. Ooh, I could make a few bucks. Or hey, Steve probably has a machine to put this in. There you go. I buy MacBook Air. It's not vintage, but people want newer stuff as well. I buy MacBook Airs and MacBook Pros that are heavily damaged. I fix them up, put new parts in, and then I sell them. I sell the last two MacBook Airs I sold for $200, sometimes $300 under the going rate of eBay. I made $100 off it, but I'm not looking to get rich off of it. I just want to keep them out of a landfill and make someone else happy with a cheap Mac that's now in good shape.
And if I paid less for something, if I'm going to run into a problem, I'm not going to feel as bad, because I'm like, all right, well, I got a good deal on that,
Yeah, and it's helping each other out, whether you're a collector or you're a kid that now has to do homeschooling because of all this COVID garbage going on, and you need a computer but don't have a bunch of cash to spend because your parents just got laid off. The community is what is getting lost.
It's not meant to be a for-profit hobby, that type of thing.
No, it's not.
I mean, you have to think about just how many of these things were made. Even the Quadra 840, which is a pretty sought after machine. I'm not going to say that it's rare, because you see them all the time, but it is sought after because of the status of, it was the fastest Mac ever made before they went to Power Macs. It has a special place in Apple history. Is it rare? No. Is it rare to find a working one? Increasingly, but you can fix them. It's not something where I have this and it's a gold mine. It's just not. It's not what they were meant for. And in part of the reply that I made yesterday, I said, by his logic, if he's going to try and sell, and it's not just the 48 meg RAM upgrade. He's got a 40 meg upgrade and a different one, all for the same computers, and they're all for well over $1,000 or $2,000, or in this case $48,000 or $4,800. He thinks it's cute to charge $4,800 because it's a 48 megabyte RAM upgrade, and there's no like what am I trying to
It's
say?
very suspicious. I think there must
There's
be
no
something
evidence
else going on.
that it's
I now
worth
think
anything
that
like
Dana
that.
should do the rant video.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll watch
Yeah,
it.
well,
That way he
So,
can he
you
can
know, and
he
I've
can
seen
does
him
stuff.
I've
Go-
seen
go-
him put Quadra 840 up for $840 because he thinks it's cute because the numbers match. You know, it's not because he's done any kind of research to see what they've been selling for lately.
Yeah. Now,
that's
you know,
part of his tactic, just to get the higher
well,
offers.
here's the other issue, though. Look at the shipping price on this. Now, we're talking about a memory module that's about like that big. Okay. Yeah.
$25.
$25 for shipping. Okay. He's gouging you not only on the actual price of the object, but the actual shipping, because it's not going to cost but maybe $7.
You better drive it to me and deliver it for that price.
Exactly. Especially
Now,
for you, because you live
sometimes
next
when
to
it
him.
comes to shipping costs, they'll say, well, what if somebody on the other side of the country wants to buy it, and what if they want it next day air?
It doesn't matter.
So
$25
they'll
is
make
still
an average sale price. So usually, a lot of times, the shipping cost will change when you finally do the final
Or you
sale.
as an eBay seller can
But it is
actually
kind of-
list different options. You could list.
Yeah.
okay.
You could do expedited or standard.
When I do auctions, because I did auctions for my wife for a little bit, because she was into LuLaRoe stuff, and we were trying to get rid of all that stuff. There is an option on there where you can actually say, put in their wherever their zip code is, it'll automatically calculate the shipping. This is not automatically calculated. This is something he put in. It's called standard shipping. He basically said it's going to be $25 no matter what. You know.
Yeah.
So to me, that is.
At the end of the day, you know, is it illegal to do what he's doing? No, absolutely not.
No.
Money laundering.
Is he breaking any rules? You know, other than
in some groups
on
he
Facebook
is.
Groups, if he's blocking admins and doing stuff against the Facebook groups rules, then yeah, but otherwise no. But does that mean that we should do business with this guy? And my position is absolutely not.
No, hell to the no.
There's nothing I want more than there's nothing I want enough that I have to deal with him. And this was maybe 2015 or 2016 when I started getting into this stuff again. And I found an Apple IIe card on eBay, and he had a few listed. One was like $70, one was $99, and one was, I think, $120, something like that. And I think the $121 one was sealed in the box. I think the $99 one was in the box, but it wasn't sealed. And I think the one that was bare without the cable, or maybe it was with the cable, just didn't have the book or the discs or anything, was about $70 or $80 or something like that.
Yeah.
I remember saving those on eBay. You could add it as a watched item, and I forgot about it. But like earlier this year, I got a notification: this item's still up for sale. It's now $600. Are you still interested? I'm like, hell no! I'm not paying $600. I ended up paying $70 for a used one. I just had to make my own cable for it. But it's like, you know, it just goes to question these listings are up there for so long, and if nobody's buying it, what's the point? You know, is it just like a collector thing of like, oh, look what I have, but you can't have it. You know, this is unobtainium. It's here. You can't get it.
Yeah.
I just sort of when I was talking before about the sort of the community attitude, I just want to tell a quick little story here of something that happened to me that was just very touching, I thought, and that was I have a video on my channel about sort of doing work on a Macintosh 2 VI, you know, useless computer, but basically you could see, you know, I showed the computer inside there and you know showed the front of it and everything like that, and it's like the case is very similar to, I think it's a Quadra 650, and I was doing some recapping for someone, and the package arrived. And when I opened up the package, there was the stuff that he wanted me to recap. But inside the box was a CD-ROM drive and a 2VI bezel for a CD-ROM drive. And I contacted him and said, oh, what's the story here? He said, oh, well, I saw your 2VI video and I saw it didn't have a CD-ROM drive in it. So here's a CD-ROM drive and a bezel. And I'm
Nice.
like, well, what do you want for it? He's like, no, you have it. It's cool.
That's
I had
awesome.
it, you know.
That's awesome.
And you think it's great to be a part of a, you know, sort of a community like that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, even between us here, okay, except for maybe Bruce because he's in Australia, we ship stuff around to people all the time and go to people's houses and you know, and trade stuff a lot, you know. In fact, we have a trade group in our Discord. If you guys ever go there, strictly trade. So if you want to trade something, I mean, that's the best way to do this stuff is the trade, because you're getting something you want and giving something to somebody that they want. Okay, and no money's involved. And both of you are happy.
Yeah, and prices vary. I mean, I've sold 4,1 Mac Pros for as little as $100, and I've sold, a USB cable for $20. Sometimes, and I say it up front, it's like, listen, I had a shitty month. I have no cash in my account. I'm gonna charge you the max of what I can charge you. If you agree, then you pay it. And sometimes, like, oh, I had a good month. I got some cash left over. Shoot me 100 for a Mac Pro, and here it's all yours. So I do what I can when I can, and if everybody
So
would do
Goldman's
that,
just having really bad months all the time.
yeah. As soon as I want to sell you guys something, I'm broke. I haven't eaten in a week, and yeah.
No spaghetti for you, right?
Well, the last thing I need to touch on the subject is I had a conversation with him, and so a while back I was looking for a very particular accessory box that was inside of one of the boxes. So not the box itself, but something that was inside of the box. And so I like the key lime iBooks. I had one when I was a kid. I still have it. It's great. I got mine refurbished. It never came in the original box, but it came with the accessory box, which has long since been destroyed, I'm sure. So I recently picked up last year, somebody sold me a broken one, but it had the box, just didn't have the accessory box. So I thought, you know what? Let me post on one of the Facebook groups. Hey, I'm looking for this. You want to trade? You want to, I'll buy it from you. If you have it, let me know. So I post it, and I'm getting a few likes and everything. And then all of a sudden he comments, and he goes on about saying, this is a collectible. I have one. But, and I put in my post, I said, I'm not paying crazy amount of prices. It's a piece of cardboard. I just want to complete my collections. We could trade something for it or whatever. And so he makes a comment. It says something along the lines of, well, I have one, but you're not going to want to pay for what I'm paying for it. You're not going to pay what I'm asking for it. And so I replied something along the lines of, like, why did you even bother commenting? You saw my original post. I'm not interested. And then he responded something along the lines of, well, it's Apple. It's collectible. It has value.
It has.
And so I went on like a paragraph and a half long rant of like, basically how insulting is it for you to tell me that I don't know what I'm talking about and I don't know what the value is. I know this thing is not, in everybody's home. I know this piece of cardboard was probably thrown out by half of the people who bought the darn computer. But it's like, at the end of the day, it's a piece of cardboard with some printing on it. And, yeah, I'd like to have it. I'm not going to pay a crazy amount of money for it. And thankfully, at the end of the day, one of the kind people in the group saw that. And, I'm in the process of recapping a few of their machines in exchange for that box and a few other things. So it's like, that's the kind of deal I like, because I'm getting something I want. This guy's getting something they want.
Yeah.
I'm not going into debt paying for a piece of cardboard.
That's why it's a community.
Exactly.
It's a community.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I wanted to buy
Steve,
something
too.
like that, geez.
He sent me some stuff because the guilt of having his crap in my basement is getting to him big time. So I've got a pile of Macs here with optical drives and power supplies, and he's sending me something, and in return, I'm recapping his power supply, and that's the way to do it. Yeah, I think.
I mean, I've bought
It's
keyboards from Jay. I mean, because I needed them and I wanted them. Jay had them. He had a reasonable price. No big deal.
Yeah.
GT had a bunch of SCSI drives. He didn't know if they worked, but he didn't want to throw them out.
I sent them to you. I didn't even charge you for it. I just sent them.
I need to see if they still work.
Yeah.
Jay sold me a iBook G4
I forgot
for
about that,
$35, and the thing works great. But
yeah.
it's not because he wasn't looking to make a profit on it. He had it, and he said, "I want this to go to somebody who's going to get use out of it and who's going to enjoy it." And I do. I still use it. It's a great little machine. But yeah.
Yeah. These are the nice relationships you form when you're doing this for the fun of it and doing it because you enjoy, playing around with this stuff, not because you're only concerned about the monetary value of things.
Exactly, and I agree totally with you there. All right, so I think we are about done tonight. I think that went on. Oh, wait, we forgot one thing. What was he smoking?
His eyebrows.
His own unique brand of ganja.
Yeah. So
I'm
That
gonna
he probably
I'm gonna bite my
lowballed somebody for.
yeah. So yeah, we almost forgot about that. What was he smoking? I'm thinking.
I don't even know what you can smoke that makes you that deranged, but
I think he just smokes his own. Well, I'm not going to say it.
family channel.
Yeah, it's a family channel. We won't go that far. But anyways, use your imagination. But anyways,
Smokes polka dots.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Loves them.
All right, guys. So this is the end of our show. So we're going to skip the shameless self-promotion and go straight to join us on Discord. And we do have a Discord channel. Make sure you sign up and join us over there. We do show up time to time in the voice chat after the show sometime. We haven't done that in a long time, but I'm not sure if we're going to do it tonight. Some of us do show up there. Also, make sure you hit that like button. I think we've only got 14 likes with 24 viewers right now. So hit that like, smash that like, or
Smash that like button.
there you go. There you go, Bruce. Also, hit that subscribe button. Also, smash that little bell icon.
Smash everything.
Exactly.
Your screen.
Also,
Yeah,
tell
we're
your
not responsible
friends.
for damage to your computer.
Tell your friends about us. Put it on your Facebook. Do everything to promote us. We are trying to get to 1,000 subs so we can give that MacBook away.
Subs.
Yeah, there we go.
I can use
Yeah. All right, guys. So that's it for tonight. And if we got anything else, we're going to go ahead and close this episode out. So we'll see you guys later. Have a good evening.
See you, dude.
Bye.